Welcome everyone back to the Anything Goes podcast, episode 6. Unfortunately, our co-host is not here at the moment. He may join in later because some issues came up, but he hopefully should be back for next week's episode. But joining us, we got another special guest. Introduce yourself, sir.
Hi, good night, everyone. Just to let everyone to know me as Kevin, and that's about it. Just joining this king, this legend here. At last minute was to be on earlier, but came in this time. We can see what's going on tonight, and just see where we can kick it.
And this is another Kevin. This is not Mr. Kev Carter. So just let everyone know. But is he's a very competent gentleman. So tonight should also be a very entertaining show as well.
I'll try to keep it that way.
Okay, let's start with our first topic. The state of emergency has been extended. It was came out on Friday, I believe, that the government had extended the state of emergency to the end of June. They also said that it wouldn't affect the curfew hasn't officially been pushed back either. So, Mr. Kev, what's your thoughts on this, sir?
Well, I can understand why the state of emergency was extended. It was necessary. I cannot envision they continue to do it without it, being extended. That old saying, that old adage of patience are theirs. But I think in this case, it was more of a situation of extending the emergency to let government has that remain with that power, to ensure that they're able to control things as it goes forward, basically.
So, what was the answer is? I think you brought it up. Was this done instead of them having to go back to Parliament every time they want to extend it? So let's say they want to extend from May 3rd to, let's say, May 13th. I just calling a random date. With this implemented, this automatically means they can do it without having to go back to Parliament.
Yeah, for a short period of time, it's just the way I believe the legislation is written, that every time it needs to be extended, you need to go back. So you extend it for probably a 30, 90-day period, to have that ability. So it would allow now for, I guess, the next, let's say, a couple of days, to allow government to be able to say, okay, we're in this situation. What would be the best step forward, in relation to that, instead of having to rush the government or parliament to get this emergency, then say later in the day to do this, you can then make it at a emergency moment, as we try to do nowadays.
So with this extension, being put, passed or whatever, would this automatically? I know they said that the curfew hasn't officially been extended, but is this basically put into the curfew being extended?
I think I'm trying to read it two ways. I think it just gives them the ability. I think at this stage, government will. I'm going to try to answer it for two ways, because I think government will try to extend it,
Mm-hmm.
because there are these unseen cases, and you look at other areas of the world, you see places that have lifted their lockdown, and you see cases spike.
Mm-hmm.
We, as a small, quote unquote 2 by 4 country,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna have that situation where you can't avoid it. You can't avoid cases popping up. Too small, and we go in some place like town or something, we automatically come into contact with one another.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they will lift it. But I think Beijing should also be prepared for it not being lifted as well. I think at least 1 to 2 more weeks, just to see how things play out, especially with these new cases.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll see how that plays out as well.
So, but one thing I think may happen is that we may have like a soft lift, so the official curfew may not be over, but I think maybe some more businesses will open up. Maybe the time you're locked out on the road maybe extended to what it was before this current state. Maybe they're not these days to go to the market may be lifted or whatever. So I was thinking maybe that's the route they would take rather than you know saying at one point, hey, the curfew just finished, you just go back to normal.
Well, I think that's also what they're trying to look at. But how exactly? Well, I think first thing, let me touch on it. There's no return to normal.
Yeah, true.
I think what we should look at is understanding which government, or which not government, but what businesses be deemed essential, because everybody's going to deem their business as essential.
Mm-hmm.
What times would people be allowed on the road, or which areas should people be able to look at? I
Mm-hmm.
think ultimately, when you open up fast food restaurants, that in itself is going to be an issue,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of what time of day you open that. You're gonna have that crowd, and you're gonna have that difficulty trying to determine what to do. But I leave that to government. I'm not sitting at the table,
Mm-hmm.
so I can only voice my opinions by bringing my opinions and my thoughts to you.
Right. And plus, we ain't got $10,000, so I can't have people saying take the risk. You briefly touched on it, and I think we can move into this right now. Um, should government reopen fast food establishments? It was something that was pitched forward a couple of days ago, and one person that I was talking to said, maybe we should do it because people would go into the supermarket less. I don't know how effective that would be, but but I was thinking maybe what they may do is have a drive-through system.
Hmm.
So you could stand in your car and they'll hand you the food.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean, I wonder if it's essential, to have it open. And then again, do you run the risk of someone who works at the establishment spreading the coronavirus from in there? Because even though they're working in the environment, you may come in there, you're gonna be close in the kitchen with I don't know, maybe 10 other people.
Okay.
So I was
Well,
wondering, could it spread via that method? You may be in your car sitting down, not being close to anyone and quote unquote social distancing, but what would the persons within the establishment, can they spread to the persons on the outside?
I think based on the initial statements they saw coming out when before this had transmitted to the UK and to the US. It
Mm-hmm.
was saying that it was being transferred via money, like coming out through ATMs and stuff like that.
Mm,
So I think as a very cash on hand society that we tend to be
mm-hmm.
in some cases, I think that's something we need to watch out for. Money is not always the best hygienic thing.
Mm-hmm.
So most hygienic, sorry.
Cocaine.
Um, and when we look at that transmitter, regardless of what policies we put in place internally, let's choose a restaurant, I'm not calling any,
Mm-hmm.
and say that we open it up and we do the drive-through system, which I believe would be best to start as a
Mm-hmm.
um, soft thing. It should be a situation whereas you need to ensure that this is done. I don't know if you're going to look to waste resources by changing gloves after every individual. If you're going to do it without gloves, you're going to have to figure out exactly how often person should be sanitized, which should be after each individual.
Mm-hmm.
There's also something you got to look at as well. Is this person showing the signs of flu or actual virus? But we also need to look at majority of people who are also asymptomatic. So I think it runs a massive risk. I know sometimes our grandparents like to take the young ones out, and sometimes that in itself may be a bit of a challenge because you may think that the fast food is something that's going to calm them down, take a kid to get some nuggets or something like that, and you know exposure. Um, so it's something you gotta watch out. I personally, going back to the topic at hand, I don't think fast food at this stage is essential.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something that can happen maybe a couple weeks to months down the line. And I know I said that, and I run the risk of anybody hearing this coming for me. So we will see how that plays out.
Mm-hmm.
But I think ultimately it needs to be a situation where that is governed and monitored effectively.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think it needs to be a situation where, while that is not essential, it could be something that could be done ultimately going down the line. So at this stage, and the belief that opening fast food will somehow ease the burden in supermarkets, I don't see it working.
No, sir.
I
Not to cut you,
mhm.
sir, but as you can see, I have uploaded a picture of the three major players in Barbados. One of those three I do not trust with my food on a regular period. Do you think that establishment can cope with this situation?
Um, I think in looking at the tree upload, I think there's always the situation of asking for do you, can I have? And for that certain establishment you mentioned is always do you have?
I
Um,
think they run with the chicken.
and so it's yeah, the chicken does run out at points.
Mm-hmm.
And I say I for me I don't know if they can cope with it. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's a very popular place still. I choose my locations very, very carefully in relation to them.
Mm-hmm.
But I am not sure if they continue. I don't know if any businesses really, when the influx happens, and it will happen, if they can cope, it will be a very long day for the period when this is open.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's 4 hours or full 8 hours, it will be a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we'll see. Only time will tell if they're able to cope.
Yeah, me personally, I mean, I don't think they should be open. I still think it currently could run too much of a risk. If the and my main concern is the workers because I know they're supposed to wear the correct gear and stuff, but I still think it's too many people so close to each other that it could spread.
Mhm.
I used to say like money, it can spread via money. You know, there was a case in Barbados where a lady said it was I don't want to say alleged, but you know, it was known that she contacted via papers. So I mean, I still think it's way too early to start back these operations. I still think it should be kept on the law right now. And you know, people go home and cook, man. I think it's best for the country. I love when I get too big on the
Yeah.
chicken and stuff, man. You know.
I think ultimately is a situation where we time will tell if they're able to cope with it. It is a challenge to how it's going to turn out. I think that's where the face mask strategy.
Hmm.
Will the organizations or the businesses be able to give them interchangeable face masks? So that the ones who are used, you use it for the allotted amount of time and then they are washed,
Hmm.
or you leave that to the employees to wash. I think maybe the best as well. So you need to give them enough that they can change throughout the day.
Hmm.
Um, ensure the relevant procedures are put into place. Avoid money and the contact you do that. But I think ultimately it's a situation where, as you said, you're dealing with people who are at together in a confined environment because ultimately when you're in there and you're just looking at the example you gave with Jesse drive through, the air isn't really circulating per se.
Hmm.
It's probably also recirculated air.
Hmm.
And it's a body cough.
Hmm.
It's another situation. There's some stories that it says it stays in the air in confined environments.
Hmm.
So you gotta watch out for stuff like that. You gotta take stuff like that into precaution and see where it takes you. Ultimately, it's also a situation where um, you have to put the medical plans in place. Because I don't think any place at this point is able to handle that.
Hmm. All right, moving right along. Unfortunately, yesterday we lost a young man life to gun violence in the Orleans, and you know it's sad, man. I mean, especially in these times, you think that you know a lot of violence will be down, but you know it keeps occurring. And one of the things I saw that I didn't like where people are saying that he sung about gun violence or whatever, but in these times I don't think that's the right thing to bring up. So I'd just like to say, I just says in a Barbados, you know, rest in peace to that young man, and my hopes and prayers go to his family. You know, in these tough times, you know, just me giving my concern to a fellow Barbadian. So you know, I wish his family the best of luck, and I hope you know we as a society, you know, I understand, you know, it's hard, you know, you can't find that stuff right now, but please, people, please keep the violence down, people, please. You know, your thoughts, Kev?
First of all, before I start, I think I want to join you on that in extending some condolences and letting the family know that thoughts and prayers also from my end. It's always a sad occasion when such an event happens, especially with somebody who had a positive outlook.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I, I, the issue of violence and violence in our societies is one that I am not a professional on. I am not even a professional on anything relating to this pandemic. I just give my thoughts, but When we look at the issue of violence, I guess sometimes it's the the pressure of you know taking out a so-called threat or rival becomes a lot, and I think even in cases such as this, we in the lockdown period and not supposed to be on or at least leave home during a certain time, and still it happens.
Right.
I think this was probably the second such instance. I think the first one was in another area, Orange Hill.
Yeah, and
Um,
yeah, that was the second
so-
death, and I think there was also a guy that was shot by in St. Philip. I mean, he's surrounded by two gentlemen. I could be wrong.
okay,
I don't
well,
think
it's not
I
a
don't
big
think he
rock.
died, but I know he was shot. So
Right. So you show that even during certain times the pressure mounts up
mhm,
and stuff still has to happen. And I know sometimes it was a one of the bright spots of this lockdown was people were saying, at least violence is down, but it now shows that even during such time, it it can be seen two ways. Either that there's a return to normalcy,
mhm,
which is also another sad thing to say, or
mhm,
the pressure is mounting up in other areas of society.
mhm. Um,
So we'll see.
what I want to ask you is post the curfew. Do you think violence could be on a rise? And when I say violence, I'm not just talking about murders. I'm talking about robberies and robberies and stuff due to persons losing their job. And if income's being down and bills mounting up, do you think we could see a case of crime rising in Barbados due to the harsh economic circumstances arising from the Rona, as persons call it?
Um, Most definitely. One of the challenges that always present themselves in any society is growing um, apathy. Not necessarily towards the government, but a situation where it presents itself towards society. People ultimately need to eat.
Mm-hmm,
I think during this situation, you're going to find people who are struggling a lot more.
mm-hmm,
Would have heard me medical talking off air many times that government needs to put plans in place.
mm-hmm,
But we see none of such. And I think ultimately you're going to hear of increases in crime, violence, robbery. But even right now, I think people don't think of it as necessarily a crime, but domestic abuse is up.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, unfortunately,
um,
I think on one of the early episodes, I think when we had our guest from the UK, shout out to you, Mr. Amar. We talked about domestic violence and mental health being impacted with persons being
mm,
so up close to each other, and it can even stem from persons who you don't think it would normally happen. Because let's say you live with your wife or your girl, you got to work to come back. You might only spend a couple hours with them regularly, but then you have to be in the house with someone for 24 hours, day in and day out. Certain problems that weren't there may arise now. So is that something that we have to look into as well?
yeah, definitely. There's information that I get, but I can't say.
Mm,
But all I can identify with is that yes, it's up.
mhm,
And I think going back to the point you said, looking at persons who usually would have gone to work and then come home, change clothes, back up to the door, go and watch football at the pub, or not the pub. I'm thinking about Nana. Shout out to him.
mhm,
And is the local rum shop or the sports bar, drink a couple with the boys, especially on a Friday night,
mhm,
and go home to your girl. You only around them for a couple of hours, and now
mhm,
it's a situation where almost on 24 hours you stuck in the house with the same person.
mhm,
You see person's habits. You constantly get annoyed as to why a person is around you.
mhm,
And tensions build,
mhm.
and ultimately, and quite sadly, they come out in the wrong way. As you said, sometimes not even from the people you expect. And let's be honest, it's going to go both ways,
Yeah,
not just traditional, but ultimately reversal of that.
yeah, exactly. And in those instances, we think a lot of men will be afraid to come and speak of what's happened to them in these instances, and then that could build to certain mental health issues that can impact not just them but other people, persons down the road as well. So that's
Yeah,
something that we have to look into as well.
exactly. And I think coming out of this, which is as you said, post Rona, Um, is issues of mental health is another thing. It's people are naturally social creatures, and putting them back into society is going to be a challenge. And you need to make such services available. And I know in Barbados, at least Barbados even, but in most predominantly black societies,
Mm-hmm.
therapy or mental health services is considered taboo.
Mm-hmm.
It's a no. I saw this video earlier and some TikTok video, and I saw
That's a real problem. Depression, that's a white man's problem. I've heard that saying for
exactly.
as a little boy for
And
years now.
exactly, and you be in a situation where you tell your parents, oh, you feel depressed, and your parents be like, oh, that's gas, drink some tea, or the way you don't go and depressed, them dishes in sink, stuff like that. So, that is generally how we as a black society think. As you said, the white man problem, or
Mm-hmm.
drink some tea or something like that,
You drink a
and
rum, take a shot.
drink exactly. Or if you're at that age, or if you're younger, go and find something else to do, read a book,
Mm-hmm.
as parents will like to tell you.
Mm-hmm. The PlayStation off limits for until weekend, but I'm gonna read that book.
Hmm.
Yeah, man. So you hope for the best. I don't have this topic listed, unfortunately. I should have, but and I tried to edit it in right now. It's moving a little funny. What are your what do you think would be the best way that bars could recover post the pandemic?
Oh boy, you're putting me on the spot
It's a
now.
guess though that it's a question that I ask all of my guests. So and last episode, if you listen, people, please go out watch the last episode. Please give it a like and a comment. Our guest to shout to Doc Duguid had a very opinionated time on that topic. So Mr. Ken,
I knowing Duja, I can imagine where he would have thing. I didn't listen to the video,
mm,
the thing, but I can imagine. But
mm,
tackling this on my end,
mm,
I did not to run a fault the government. Government knows what it's doing and it's very capable.
mm,
But I would say you gotta definitely. One of the things I would say, and I think maybe in a couple stages, it
mm,
needs to one implement basic social protection floors.
mm,
It needs to give at least every individual and or household a basic income so that people could go out there and stimulate the economy, and it would, in my opinion,
shout the Yankees.
lower crime. Yeah, I think it would in a way lower crime because people are now able to heat
Mm-hmm.
and they don't have to look at somebody say, oh, I want your phone and let me go and sell it, stuff like that.
Quick question. I know
Hmm.
the Prime Minister had put forward something a while ago, but I haven't seen anything come out of that. In the states, they're given the $1,200, which a lot of people in the states are complaining isn't sufficient. I know Canada is doing a very good job of handing resources to its citizens. What happened to the original plans put forward, and how would you change those?
I'm not sure what happened to the original plans put forward. I think last plans I was aware of, it was supposed to speak towards either NIS or small business.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but in looking at that, I think that would help. And then looking at how to change them, I can't really say how I would change them at this stage. I think I know that looking at Canada, Canada gives roughly nine hundred and something dollars every 2 weeks. I stand corrected on that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that assists, and remember they have basic services that are now always available in comparison to the US, which has you have to pay for your medical services, you have to pay for other stuff, which in itself is sometimes a challenge. If you're a university student, you are in Canada, you sometimes get the free health services as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that happens. In the US, I can see where it would be a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, is a situation where um, is one that one has to look at how best to what are the challenges in society,
Mm-hmm.
what people need,
Mm-hmm.
and how best to go about them. So I think changing them will involve immense consultation with all partners, civil society included, because they're on the front line,
Okay.
and seeing what's necessary. Because I can't even begin to implement how best I would change them. What I would say government needs to do, as I've been saying for many years,
Mm-hmm.
is our tourism sector is going to be in a mess for a long time.
We
People
Kev, me and our guest last week, we had some very hot things to say on that topic. So if you want to add
I
your
won't,
point,
I won't,
if you want
I
to put
won't
more
re,
gasoline on the fire, go ahead, sir. I wouldn't stop you right now.
I wouldn't rehash it. All I'm going to be say is that we need to diversify it.
Mm-hmm.
We need to start relying on it. And because it's a situation we can't look at anymore in such a simple way. We need to be able to say, um, we have a technological area. We do well in education. We do well in manufacturing,
Mm-hmm.
and tourism is a thing. Finance is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's rely on those as well, in addition to these other areas. So that's where I'm at the moment. That's how we believe it would be best done.
Right. So what I talked about last week is us. I think one of the things as Barbadians we struggle with is we look at ourselves as being a small country. And I was saying that we
Hmm.
should get into more niche products, like niche fragrances, niche alcohols, niche clothing. Do you think that could be a solution? Because Barbados is seen as a very outside of Bar. I know some Barbadians sadly have some negative views about Barbados, but on the global stage, Barbados is seen as this kind of fancy-ish kind of place. Do you think that could be something that we could use our advantage?
Um, I think there's several issues that need to be unpacked there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one is this small island mentality.
Mm-hmm.
We small, so we can't look at it in a different way. So we is a situation of, oh, we small, so we can accept whatever the big countries tell us.
Mm-hmm.
We sign on to these accords or these international policies because other countries told us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think now, if you have that small island mentality, you're gonna have that small island problems.
Mm-hmm.
So in a situation now where we had Sea Island cotton, subject to correction on this, but we don't own it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I remember other countries had rights to other music,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't own it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think when Barbados is in that situation, Barbados has to be like, you know what, this is our stuff. We own this. Let's really take a look at that. So
Mm-hmm.
if we want back the Sea Island cotton, we got to be able to say, you know what, this is ours. We're going to market this towards the tourism sector. Come and get shirt made of this, world-renowned Sea Island cotton,
Mm-hmm.
or this is, say, Rihanna's wearing Sea Island cotton, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to market the hell out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think once you get that done, you'll be able to say, you know what, Barbados is punching above its weight once again.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not gonna have those smart island problems, but then you're able to say, you know what, this is what we do.
Mm-hmm.
You open up these different areas, you open up these different avenues, and next money's be coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you got to be able to stand up at other people at somewhere along the line.
Mm-hmm. So my question is,
So yeah.
you're a man who's traveled to other Caribbean countries. Does that mentality exist in other Caribbean islands as well, or is it a Barbadian problem?
Um, it depends on the country. I think I don't see Guyana having that trouble. Guyana is Guyana. Guyana will wreck Guyana till now and forever.
Jamaica as well.
Um,
That's one thing I say. Gotta get Jamaican respect. They love the country.
exactly. And I
Mm-hmm.
think the problem that Barbados has to recognize is they have to be able to look at like Jamaica and be like, okay, you know what? Barbados does not reside in Jamaica, and they gotta tell all the tourists that
Mm-hmm.
we over here,
Mm-hmm.
Jamaica over there,
Mm-hmm.
and you gotta be able to look at that. You want reggae music, you want the nice beaches, you want good tourist attractions that are uniquely Jamaican.
Go
They're
there.
there.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. You want Barbadian stuff. Everybody who's been here loves here. We got the Caribbean Sea,
Mm-hmm.
but in some cases Atlantic, and it's we who we are. And I think once we get together and we do that, we'll be effective on it. Guyana, they tell you that they're Guyanese, and they don't ever claim to shift it.
Mm-hmm.
Jamaicans don't shift it. I think the rest of us at points, we need to be able to look at ourselves and say, you know what, um we Barbadian, we Jamaican, we Grenadian, we Belizean,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and we gotta shift that.
Mm-hmm. You think that comes from? a lot of Barbarians look into what the US and England has as standards and compare ourselves
Uh,
to those countries rather than doing our own thing.
um, Slavery was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Slavery was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And neocolonialism was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
As a
Or,
result,
or
in
still or still is a
post,
thing.
and still is a thing. And I think at one point it was a situation where we were Little England, and everything about us was uniquely British.
Mm-hmm.
We, in some places, love to have the afternoon tea.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe still do, and tourists from Britain loved being in Barbados. They had homes here and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And somewhere along the 60s to 70s, it shifted.
Mm-hmm.
And neocolonialism from the US stepped in. Some places had the Monroe Doctrine. And, we started to get exposed to American TV.
Mm-hmm.
And it happened. Suddenly, now when we leave, we're either heading towards the UK
Mm-hmm.
or to the US.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we want. We want the Timbs, we want the hoodie, we want to go to the Bronx and see what that's like. We want that American lifestyle,
Mm-hmm.
and in many cases, that's who we are. And we saying the rap and stuff like that because
Mm-hmm.
that's who we identify as well.
Mm-hmm.
In many cases, we are Asian Americans.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I just always say he's like Florida little brother.
Well, yeah, I haven't been to Florida, but I can see the reasoning behind
No,
that.
I always said
Um,
like I said myself right. You could flip either country. If Florida right was to drive right hand drive cars, I have more black people. You think you're a Barbados dog. It's the same thing.
wow.
Yeah, it's just like
And
I mean, in a way, I don't know why we don't like to be like unique. I don't know why it's like why can't Barbie and stuff be good?
yeah, because slavery was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
um, is you remember you've come about not really having an identity for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
As much as we like to say we have 50 plus years of independence, it's 50 plus years of independence with exposure from these other countries.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, you were British and now you are neo-colonial to America.
Mm-hmm.
It's only if you sit and realize that, in some cases, you have to have that identity for yourself. Yeah, back in the day, we used to be able to say, we Beijing and Beijing and proud, and we had our own unique little sayings. But how many of them know what they are now?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we had these things that go around. Some of us had it on our social media and our WhatsApps and stuff like that, asking you was a Sawaria or Fire Galash or a village ram even.
Mm-hmm.
And is what does anyone know what is that?
They don't know. Maybe
What's a county? What's cuckoo?
maybe village ramen, but you know, but the rest of them they don't know.
Exactly. I didn't even know someone. I didn't know what a Sawaria.
I hear about
Somebody
village
from
ramen.
somebody from Spain explained that to me.
Wow.
I was like, what? But that's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
So
So, all right, Mr. Manny, we can have a little fun right now. It's nice for us to have after such a serious conversation, to have a little bit of fun.
sure.
My next question to you is Kim Jong Un dead?
Oh man, oh boy, I really gotta be careful on this one. Next thing I see some, helicopters or vehicle following me or something.
I mean, this man got a whole
Um,
movie studio production shut down, so you gotta be
exactly.
careful now.
My entire screen might go dark in front of me and a message might pop up. I don't think so. I think at least on the last couple of days, headed Friday, heading into Saturday, we saw a lot of news about it.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of speculation, a lot of rumors. South Korea came out and said that he isn't.
Mm-hmm.
In the last couple of maybe a day or so, I think maybe last night into this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think if he was, I don't think much would change. I think it would only be more interesting in the world if he was. I don't think he is though.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say I don't think he is. I would rely on more information.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he's just on vacation. Maybe he's having a family difficulty. Maybe one of his children needed the surgery.
Mm-hmm.
He's alleged to have children
Yeah,
because not necessarily.
especially I know he has a daughter, but I don't know like what. what the children he has. Because if
Yeah,
you
I
look at
think
him,
this.
he is not his he is not a child of any of his father's wives. He's like a child of a mistress, but you know, daddy like him, and he's king of the country. So shout out to North Korea, not doing like England and saying that you're naturally dead.
Mhm.
England take notes, but
I England take notes, Charles North Korea. I still live in Barbados, and if anything, I would like my Prime Minister upon hearing this to know that I still have all respect for her. I'm not alleging any differences to any one side, but I'm just saying,
hmm,
is a situation where we can't predict what goes on in country. Nobody knows what goes on in country except the people who are there
hmm,
and China
yeah,
and China.
yeah,
So you really have to decide to ask, you know, the big boss in China, what's going on, and maybe he will tell you, maybe he won't. But usually the dragon isn't going to speak that sort of way.
right. My one thing is there were rumors that if he had passed away, that his sister would take over. Do you think the North Korean army would accept a woman being the head of the country?
I actually really wanted this question, um, because Kim Yo Jong,
Mm-hmm.
I think she's very fascinating.
Oh man,
Um,
she's serious as hell. I like honestly, right? This man here on screen right now. Oh, I'm gonna have a beer with that woman, boy. I will be staring
no,
that woman
yes,
direction, boy.
but I would go on terms right now and say she's actually really kind of cute. Respect to her. She's cute. Yeah, she's married.
Sir, I
So
can. If this
awesome.
man is alive, sir, I cannot afford a missile coming to my house, sir. So please do not do anything like that, sir.
But I respect the marriage and stuff like that. But and apart from me joking around there,
Mm,
um, I think the army really would show her respect. She's secretly been able to. I don't even say secretly. She's been able to, alongside him,
mm,
she is his closest confidant.
mm,
Um, she knows everything she needs to know, and I think she she knows what needs to be done in the country, and I
mm,
think she has been the one who he's relied on.
mm,
And I think the army, if it knows what's good for him, there will be a slight power struggle,
mm,
but I believe the army knows that it will back her ultimately. And everyone, as you've seen, who is Kim Yo Jong? Who is she? Who should we um know? What should we know about her? I think she would do a good job. I think.
mm. There was also thoughts of his older brother taking over. I'm not too familiar with him, and there's also a thought of his uncle being in a position because he was once a diplomat, sorry, in multiple countries, and he returned 6 months ago. My only thing to that is it was 6 months ago and not like last week, so I don't think he'd be in the running. And as you said, he's very close to his sister, so
Mhm.
I think he would more probably, if he was to pass, lean it towards her. So I don't see any of them being the head right now. My one.
Um,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think foreign policy fascinates me, and I think North Korea, if any person who likes foreign policy, is definitely right there.
Mhm.
Um, I think I can't remember the older brother. I know there was an older brother who was assassinated.
Right.
And I'm not sure if there's any older because that was solidifying power in himself.
Right.
That move, according to international experts.
Right.
I repeat that again, according to international experts, not
Mm-hmm.
me. Um, I think her. I think, as far as I understand, it passes through familial succession.
Mm-hmm.
So she would naturally be the next person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the uncle, where's he gonna come from? He 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 doesn't stand a chance. Maybe, in my opinion, I think it would be
I don't
best.
think he stands a chance. It was a
Yeah,
theory going around maybe because her being a woman and they may not respect her. That they would get to the uncle, but I was saying I think we'll get to if they don't want her. To me, we'll go to the brother. Like I don't see the uncle, taking a position.
I don't think it would go to the. I think if I know her, and I think you would see a very quick switch. Like North Korea is able to mobilize agents globally very quickly,
Mm-hmm.
and you would just see couple switches being made up, for lack of a better terminology. Of those, in terms of individuals who would be in running,
Mm-hmm.
and power will be solidified in herself because anyone who comes to power has to make that change.
Mhm.
I can't afford threats from the outside or inside. So you would see that happening. And I think, as I said before, it never had a female, but I think the world is changing and North Korea is changing along with it.
Our shout to our commenter in the live chat, Mr. Fatherpork. He said she may show more force, which could be true because she would have a point to prove. Because as we all know, keep it real, her being a woman, she will be challenged to show how strong she is, and she may respond in a way that's more forceful than her brother.
Yeah,
So,
because she naturally has to show that she's capable.
mhm,
So you may see one or two missiles being launched off and other stuff being shown to show that she is the right person for the job.
mhm. Another thing was with his, if he was to pass, would the nuclear deal signed with Mr. Donald Duck, I mean Mr. Trump, would that be null and void?
Um, I don't think so. I think it would be revisited, but I don't think it would come to thing. I think what would be done is that many world leaders would jostle to meet her.
Mm-hmm,
Ambassadors will fly in to make sure that it's still something that she wants to hold true
mm-hmm,
to get her idea on it.
mm-hmm,
So it then will be up to if they're able to meet with her.
mm-hmm,
She may just decide she may close the country a lot tighter
mm-hmm,
and only listen to China, and that's it.
mm-hmm.
Or she may go to the path of opening up and want to meet everybody.
Right.
We don't know. We know nothing about the woman.
A fun question to you, sir. If he's good, do you think they would get a clone to replace this man?
um,
I want to say a clone. I
uh,
don't mean one of these like lab grown clones. I mean like a body double.
if he's dead,
Yeah, if he was to pass, do you think they would get a body double to replace him just to keep face? And she would be the head of
um,
the country.
I think it'd be if as a fun question answering this in a fun way. I think ultimately it would be fun to do.
I can see them pulling it
Because
off.
yeah, I could see them pulling it off as well because it would be something that it would give her the ability to toy with everyone for a little while. It would keep up the perception that he's still around,
Hmm.
and you get to do whatever you want with this clone. Tell him to jump over a border or jump over a wall or whatever, just for the fun of it.
There was a question asked to your least favorite Formula One driver if he thought he had met Vladimir Putin. And he said, I believe so, but I'm not certain because I've heard he has body doubles.
This is from who again?
Your least favorite Formula One driver.
Oh boy, that is not fair. Um, but I think there's always that conspiracy that most people in positions of power have body doubles.
Mhm,
Um, and you just might. Um, you just might because we've seen how it is when he visited. I think it was Singapore.
mhm,
And you saw how immense the security was around him,
mhm,
and that could have been his body double, and the man could have been upstairs in the jacuzzi just eating some fried chicken. Who
mhm,
knows?
mhm.
So we don't know.
I mean, he does eat a lot of
Um,
fried chicken. I mean,
I can't help it. Fried chicken's good,
yeah, true, true, true. Unless you get it from a particular fast food establishment in
right? I leave that one to you. I leave that one to you. You
Right.
have to go through the drive-through and ask, "Do you have?"
Anyway, I'm moving
So
right along. On our next fun topic, Mr. Trump implies that using injecting disinfectants could be effective in curing the Rona. Mr. Kev,
hi, yes,
what's your
it was
opinion
a,
on this, sir?
it was a slight drop out just now. So apologies. So I assume the question was about the disinfectant and how it cures
Huh,
corona.
I'm gonna send you the picture right now.
Um,
All right, yeah.
yeah. So I think ultimately, oh boy, this is a very tough one. Not to be remain objective on. Um, I think ultimately it was a mistake, and I think in the last couple of hours he's recognized that sometimes words does do have a lot of consequences.
Mm-hmm.
As you see, he's up to today. He canceled the daily briefing, then they rescheduled it, and there was a whole lot of stuff. And I think he did it somewhere around this evening
Mm-hmm.
because he was upset that
Mm-hmm.
people were saying that he said this.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't be the leader of the free world that America stands as, the beacon on the hill.
Is it free though?
And well, that remains relative.
Mm-hmm.
And say that, it's a situation where I say this, you come to light with information, and you've made the statements you made, and then don't take responsibility for it. People who are your fan base,
Mm-hmm.
people who are desperate for any signs of hope coming from the world's most powerful person,
Mm-hmm.
of course will naturally believe that it can help. The leader of the world says, maybe disinfectant will work.
Mm-hmm.
So what's to stop me from trying it? And then up to for a week, last 2 days or so, you saw people actively trying disinfectant.
Mm-hmm.
The cases in New York itself were doubled,
Mm-hmm.
because people they're desperate for a solution.
Mm-hmm.
So I know it was something to watch out for, but
Mm-hmm.
he said it, and I think he needs to come and, at least in my opinion, to state that what he said was not in the best interest. But I don't see an apology coming
I think he made
anytime
something
soon.
like that was sarcastic. I don't know if it was him directly, but I think would admit it was a sarcastic statement. But if
You,
you
you,
watch the
you can't
live
come.
footage, it was not done in a sarcastic way, in my opinion.
No, it wasn't. It really wasn't. And then we saw the videos with the doctor, the lady, Dr. Burks,
Mm-hmm.
over there holding her head, trying to keep a straight face.
The funniest one was Mike Pence. Though Mike Pence is like, did he just really say that? Like I'm not a Mike Pence fan, but I was
And
like, damn. Pence like this idiot.
exactly.
Mm-hmm. So my question is,
But
you feel he does so stupid? Are you feel is that he's desperate also to solve this situation?
I think, like every other world leader, I
Mm-hmm.
think he's just looking for solution, and he's looking for the best solution possible.
Mm-hmm.
So he's taking whatever information he get, and sometimes he actively plays it out loud.
Mm-hmm.
Which you should use his inside voice at least, for 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to his experts, and then state what he's come to know.
Mm-hmm.
But actively receiving information like 5 minutes before being triggered by something that somebody asked and then stating it, it's a recipe for disaster when it comes to him, who's known for just making a lot of statements over the last 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like, um, who knows? I see more before coming, way before this pandemic is over.
Yeah. I mean, but my thing is, do you think this will hurt his brand for being president?
No.
Facts.
Um,
I.
I his brand is just like him as a president is Teflon.
Mm-hmm.
He has been tried and proven, and his fan base still stands with him.
Mm-hmm.
His supporters are still there. He is Teflon.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the man said it himself. He could shoot a man in the middle of Times Square and get away with it. So,
And maybe in the next 4 years he just might do it, and he still may be
I
president.
mean,
But
to be fair,
ultimately,
this man said he could grab an old man by the, and this man still won the presidency. My man, like, how he pull this off? It still boggles my mind.
well, well, not to dive too deep into politics, but I think ultimately people just need to be.
Mm-hmm.
I need to make it their mind as to what they stand on,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they just need to decide what they want. Do they want Trump for the next 4 years, or do they want somebody else for the next 4 years? And ultimately, we'll see what happens. But I know Trump will be in for the next 4 years.
Yeah, I don't see the duck losing any power.
Yeah, I
Uh,
don't say either.
yeah, I mean, because I mean, cause basically the Democratic front runner it's confirmed is Joe Biden. 'Cause I mean, I think everybody else has dropped out.
Hmm.
So I mean, probably closer to election time, I will have you back on to discuss what you think will happen in the U.S. election, but I just think it's gonna be a clean sweep for the duck. Like I just I
I think it will be too. I closer to last November, yeah, I think around that time it will be a situation where things start to firm up. People try to figure out how they go gonna go out or stay in and vote.
mm-hmm,
And I think ultimately, regardless of what happens, people will be in their house, they will have their privacy and they will vote according to how they are comfortable.
mm. And talking about being safe, you think this could also help him retain power because his fan base is very passionate and the Democratic, fan base is kind of split right now. A lot of them, I think, will vote for Joe Biden if they do vote just out of being a Democrat. But the Democratic Party has a lot more parts to it to me than the Republican Party. So you think with this virus going around, you think that he has a better chance of retaining power due to
I
having a
don't really
more
have to.
loyal fan base?
Well, yeah, what you just said hits it on the head. Because remember, his fan base doesn't believe that the virus is real.
Mm-hmm,
So those are the ones who are going to turn out, and they're the ones who are going to vote.
mm-hmm,
Because ultimately, why should they not vote? My elections are out. I'm exercising my right.
mm-hmm,
Lockdown is communism. All of that stuff, as they said.
mm-hmm,
And democratic people, the so-called liberals, are the ones who are going to say it's not safe out there. I don't know how best they're going to do this. I don't trust the system right now.
mm-hmm,
And they're going to stay home.
mm-hmm,
It's going to be like last election, and they will stay home because they don't know exactly how best it's going to work out.
mm-hmm,
So you're going to have people who are going to go out in droves and who are going to want back their jobs, who's going to be passionate by this guy who's going to come out, sweeping, saying all the things that he's done, maybe even worse than the last 4 years,
mm-hmm,
where he tried to protect Hillary Clinton.
mm-hmm,
And now he's going to probably be saying things such as the Chinese virus. I'm sorry for saying that, but he's going to be saying things like that, and the conspiracies are going to come out.
mm-hmm,
And he's waiting for the conspiracies to come out.
mm-hmm.
And I don't think Biden's a match for that or the Democratic fan base.
What about Nickel G?
Pardon?
Nickel G.
I don't know.
He will not.
I
He's taking on the towers. So that one conspiracy. That sticks under the rug.
exactly.
Oh
So
man, I don't want to.
yeah,
Yeah. So all right, moving right along. Hope this comes up properly. Cause I try to edit this people if it comes up funny. All right, let me edit this a little bit, make it a little nicer for the people. All right, Georgia reopens. So let me bring this down a little bit. The state of Georgia reopened on Friday. Kev, you think this was a smart move?
mistake.
What
Huge mistake.
what have me is white tattoo parlors and barbershops opened.
Um, Tattoo parlors, I don't get. Barbershops, people need to be comfortable in their own skin and be like looking for a real wolf for a little while longer.
Mm-hmm,
What is the point of having going out, getting a haircut, getting that fade, to
mm-hmm,
go back in your house and sit down?
mm-hmm.
I don't get it.
Me neither.
And I think the salons was the same thing. Are people so uncomfortable in their own skin to knowing how they look that they risk their own health to go out and get your hair done, get your nails done, get your toes done
Mm-hmm,
in places that clearly look like they're hospitals.
mm-hmm,
I saw a photo with the manicures or pedicure places, the salons, having plastic between them and the person who's doing it.
mm-hmm,
All you do is stick through your hand or your foot.
mm-hmm,
You could barely see the person on the other side. And I would not want anybody to do that because what's the point?
mm-hmm.
But they're risking it.
And
Makes no sense.
and they also reopened gyms as well, but you had to be like two
Which is
treadmills apart or whatever.
the treadmills make no difference when you and are the
But you
gyms
remember
up in
you sweating and stuff, and like you want to be conscious because like
exactly.
you might sneeze or something. You're not sneeze, but you breathing heavy and stuff. Like why that not spread it around?
You will.
Cause
You
in the gym, bro,
ultimately
you're gonna be breathing pretty heavily,
very heavily. You're gonna be touching all the equipment. You're gonna be
sweating.
flirting with the women on the other side, and
Correct.
all of that. And are the sanitary protocols up?
Mm-hmm,
What's going on?
mm-hmm,
I don't get it. And Are people going to be wiping out mid set now?
Mm-hmm.
Are they, is it one person to shower? I don't know. I've never been in a gym in my life. So how is it working out?
Slim man problems.
Um, Slim man problems indeed. So I don't get the point behind it. I don't. That doesn't make any sense. Work out at home, if anything. Do some couple of push-ups, pull-ups in the doorway, and get those reps in.
Mm-hmm.
But you can put yourself at risk, and next you know you'll be lying in at home, sick, or in the hospital, or next you know in a box.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Well, Georgia, yeah, did Florida. I think we need to got Georgia man instead of Florida man right now. Okay, I just think this is absolutely ridiculous. Like, why would you get your nails done? I just said they said a host and sit down and risk spreading virus. I honestly think this is a terrible move, and I think it's only a matter of time
yes,
before the cases spike. And I just think this is a
cases are already
bad.
spiking. Cases doubled in Georgia as soon as stuff reopened. They doubled.
Let me see.
Imagine what that's going to be like in 14 days when cases symptoms really start to show. Cases doubled in 2 days after you reopened. That's crazy.
You think Tennessee's open as well? Tennessee's planning to reopen as well?
I think I heard something about that.
Yeah. Georgia has 635 new cases and 20 deaths. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, we can't do
So
anything about it.
we're gonna move from New York and we're gonna find someplace else like Georgia or California or someplace that has reopened per se.
Well, well, well. I don't know how to respond to this. God bless America. Moving right along. 5 substitutions per game. It was recently discussed on ESPN FC with one of my favorite journalists of all time, Mr. Gabriel Marcotti, and two other blokes that can't remember the other guy, Dan, and some of the random English dude. I can't remember the other guy name. Um, Kev, Carl will be doing this for you. Um, the suggestion was made that there should be 5 substitutions per game since the season will be so compacted coming down to the end just to finish up everything due to the current outbreak. Kev, I know you follow football. You're an avid Manchester United fan, but I know in the last couple of years you haven't been able to watch the sport as you normally do. What's your thoughts on this?
Um, I I I I still don't have much thoughts on it. I think ultimately, at the end of the day, it's going to seem very trivial as me as a supporter fan, especially for the Red Devils.
Mhm.
Whatever allows Manchester to be able to win at the end of the day, that's where I stand.
Oh,
If it affects Chelsea, if it affects Liverpool, it can affect Arsenal. Once and there's only one Manchester in Manchester, that's United.
pardon me.
Once they win, that's where I stand.
Sorry, I
Um,
hear let Guardiola, but I beg to differ. But I hear
so
let
the five
Guardiola.
substitutions per game,
Hmm.
many people won't agree with it. I think some people say it's disadvantageous.
Hmm.
I ultimately I haven't found much of an opinion on it.
Hmm.
I'll probably come back another time when the season is fully and up and discuss it.
Hmm.
But I think ultimately, they're trying to push the season as much as possible at this point. Trying to get people in and out,
Hmm.
while maintaining health, and we'll see how it goes.
Right. Um, I I think honestly it could be a very good idea, especially if you want to compact the season, because I think
Hmm.
UEFA wanted to put forward an idea of they wanted to finish play every Europa and Champions League game in August and finish it. So I think for the well-being of the squad is necessary.
Hmm.
Also, what they said is that they instead of having five individual substitution slots, you have start the same three. So you have to put two, and then one.
Hmm.
Or maybe I don't know if you could probably do 3-1-1 or whatever, but um, I think it could be beneficial to teams to keep the legs going, and it could also be beneficial to players to get play.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think all.
Mhm. I understood what the
I
other
think.
guy was saying. That I can't remember his name right now. Hold on, I will try to check it out. The guy that was arguing with Gabriel Marcotti, that he was saying that it could benefit the bigger teams. And I thought Gab's dismissal of it was kind of childish in a way the way he did it. But I think teams like Man City, sorry to upset you, Liverpool, those teams have better benches than Newcastle. Like, and I think what Gab was trying to argue was the drop off in skill between the first 11 and, like, let's say, the first 16 is about equal per team. But I disagree. I think if you look at
Mm-hmm.
the squad that Man City has, that is an amazing squad. Whether you like the team or not, that is an amazing squad. And I don't
It
think other
is.
teams can compete like that. Even Liverpool, I think to be honest, I think City got a better squad than Liverpool. I think Liverpool has a better first team, but as a squad, City has a better squad. Can City
Mm-hmm.
compete? Look at Italy. Can Juventus? Juventus has won a lot of scudettos recently. Why? Lazio to me doesn't have a better bench than Juventus. Inter doesn't have a better bench than Juventus. And if you look at Inter, a lot of complaints were, hey, this bench isn't good enough, and they paid the price
Yeah.
for it. Inter doesn't have a good bench as
Um.
Juventus, so I think it could benefit um, the bigger studies right now. If this was more long term, I could see it being beneficial to where if you're losing, subbing 5 players off could be change the formation of a team completely and have different tactics. It could be very interesting. It could bring a new form of football that we haven't seen ever. Because I think even with 3 substitutions, it's like the formation basically stays the same. One player may go here, but I think with the ability to sub 5 players, it would change football forever.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be a new
Um.
paradigm to the sport, but I think as of right now, I think just to get through the Corona phase, it may be necessary. I think these guys to me cannot handle the wrong at eight, a quarter, a semifinals, and then a final in a month. I don't think
It can
it
happen.
can
I think
happen.
ultimately, with what UEFA is trying to do is too compacted.
Hmm.
And it will drive people to injury. I can
Yeah,
see a lot of the higher and starters being driven to injury a lot
and they
easier.
still got to start
I
next season
think
again in September. I think
if they're lucky.
maybe if this can even start, but I think and they want to play it, got the old UEFA Cup days, one game, knockout. That's it. If you want to
Mhm.
do it like that, maybe the semi-finals could do like 2 legs, because I think that's why I like the Coppa Italia in Italy, where they offer is knockout to the semi-finals, which is a two-legged affair.
Mhm.
So I like that idea, but I think if they want to do it, just straight knockout. Like I don't see it working as in like you playing all
What
these
you
games.
mentioned was thing because yes, it gives the promotion for a lot of people out of who may be on the benches.
Hmm.
So let's say we had a game and let's say they were back in not in the championships but in the um higher up league,
Premier League
my
or
Premier League. I was thinking
you mean
Serie
league below
A,
the
but
Premier League? The league below the Premier League, the
let's
champions.
let's let's Premier League. I was thinking Serie A, but let's switch back to Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
And use a team like Sunderland.
Mm-hmm.
I think Sunderland in the long run would be able to say that they could beat Manchester City
Mm-hmm.
if they so Manchester City would be able or at least be skeptical
Mm-hmm.
of changing out so often.
Mm-hmm.
Sunderland will be able to say, we in it one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody for themselves,
Mm-hmm.
or this is a team, let's switch it out, let's keep them legs going,
Mm-hmm.
and constantly let each person plays in a new set. Next game, another five. Next game, another five, and keep legs fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas City now, yeah, they'll be better at the ball. They're more professional and or at least have better statistics.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, they will still seek to play certain players.
Right, right.
Those starters will come on,
Mm-hmm.
and I think ultimately that they will pay the price for it.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on the tactics behind it.
Mm-hmm. It
Um,
depends how you build the squad
and
too. Would you look for the
uh,
best first 11, or you do say, hey, look, give me best 16?
exactly.
So I mean,
So
it could be very
ultimately,
interesting how you do it.
yes, and I get that, but I can't.
Yeah, I wish you were for the best, but.
So
I just don't see it happening. We think about the leagues being voided. You think they should be voided, or they should get the team in first, the lead? I think you're saying no just because who is on top in the Premier League right now. But being a bit objective, how do you think the season should finish?
I I think just like this entire year, I think it will just be forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
Um, people don't talk about. Remember that game we started in 2020 when we started the league in 2020. People just been like, what game? I think that's how it should be. Ultimately, it should just be. I will forget about it. I will look to rest everyone, get everybody in training for August,
Mm-hmm.
get ready for September, start fresh, get ready for the January transfers,
And move again.
see who's going where, and start and get everything going off with a bang from there.
Yeah,
That's how we would go about it.
yeah. The video was with Dan, Gabriel, and Arden, or whatever his name is. Yeah, I mean, Marcus talk a lot of nonsense, but I mean, he has some fair points in this video to me.
Hmm.
My thing is this: I think I would do it like this. If a team is more than 10 points clear, I'll hand them the title. I know I said this already, but I just said it for you. If it's very close between a team or two, I'll let them play off each other.
Okay.
And I would say, hey, like these teams close, like 5 points between each other. Possibly they could come back and win a playoff between the teams, and whoever wins wins. That's what I think should happen. But I don't run UEFA, so we'll see what happens.
I guess that's how it is. What was exactly the position of the international teams? Well, 'cause I was wondering what FIFA was doing over there.
Copa America and Euros have been pushed back to next year, so I think they should be on the hook on that.
Okay,
The
so it's
World Cup I think
simple.
should be able to take place, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
And on our
World Cup
last,
just.
go
Mhm.
ahead.
World Cup just like Olympics probably will find itself being pushed back to a next time,
2026.
may even change locations.
I think they should change the location. I think this current location is a disaster, but
I,
let's not get into
I
that.
think so as well.
All
But
right, on our final topic of the night, far as
hmm
looking beyond Formula One, it came out in the Guardian last week that Ferrari was possibly looking to quit Formula One due to the lowering of the budget cap under 150 million. It later came out that by their president, I think, what was it, Benato, he said that that's not true. However, if they learn of the cap, Ferrari may have to look to go into other forms of motorsport to maintain that staff, such as WEC and other forms of motorsport. As avid Ferrari fans, what's your thoughts on this, sir?
um, as an average Ferrari fan, I think I would love a job in Ferrari at this point. Because if they can't lower their cap below a certain amount, I wonder how much the staff is being paid. Um, because to have those costs and have such a wide international base, as they said,
Mm-hmm,
to have teams set up in different countries,
mm-hmm,
it's crazy.
mm-hmm,
Um, I think it's an unfair move because yes, I am a Ferrari fan, been there since the days of Schumacher.
mm-hmm,
Um, I think it's a situation where we have to recognize that the game is changing and
mm-hmm,
Ferrari has money. Let's not even joke about it.
mm-hmm,
To figure out how to maintain the staff costs shouldn't be a problem if you put more pressure or put more focus on the customer side of things.
No, no, no. But what happened is Formula wants to go to a budget
Mm.
cap of 150, I think 150 million.
Yeah, I remember.
Right. So if the staff is included in that cost, I mean, what you do with the staff that exceed
And
that
that's what
budget?
I'm saying. They should focus on
The cars.
on on having stuff for the cars,
Mm-hmm,
but in terms of looking for that staff cost,
mm-hmm,
if they should drop to that amount
mm-hmm,
and they should seek to make up that money in separate areas.
mm-hmm,
Ferrari has money. Let's
mm-hmm,
not even joke about it.
mm-hmm.
They could sell a couple spaces on the car. They could sell a couple spaces on the study the buses, something, and you guarantee you'll make up that money.
Yeah.
Um, I think ultimately, and I've said this to you multiple times before,
Mm-hmm.
the Formula One has gotten boring. We all know who's going to win at the end of the day, and
Uh,
and you know who's my least favorite Formula One driver
oh, Max
because
Verstappen.
he's always there.
But is that his fault though?
Um,
He
I
he
I
can't be
I
getting mad
I
like.
okay. I'm gonna admit this to you. I tend to take up a devil's advocate
Uh,
when it comes to you, but he's talented. I'm not going to deny that.
Mm-hmm.
But he's talented in a really good car.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see him taking that talent,
Mm-hmm.
and I would love to see him take that talent and go to some place like McLaren or Williams and
No, no.
build that team.
I mean, to be fair to him, he went to Mercedes when people thought it was a very dumb move to go to Mercedes, and I thought it
Yeah,
was me and my uncle was like on the few who were like, this could actually be a brilliant move, and
and look at what
it
happened.
worked for him. So I mean,
Yeah,
I honestly would like him to got to McLaren and build him back up, but I just think he happy at Mercedes right now. But
he's also complacent at Mercedes right now.
could be. I think
He
how
is
he's
because
35. I honestly I don't. If you keep he's 35, he's one championship away from equaling Michael Schumacher. Why would you move?
shouldn't be able to eat for Michael Schumacher. I'm sorry. I
What
think I was
happened?
if I had the chance, I would strip him of two titles because no one should ever be as good as the greatest of all
I
time,
don't.
in my
Senna
opinion. I know you were gonna mention Senna, but
and
for
the
me,
Prost.
I still love Schumacher, and that's always gonna be for me.
I was never
Oh,
after my uncle told me how he hit Villeneuve in '97. I was never a fan of that man. I'm sorry. I could just never let Michael Schumacher. I'm sorry.
uh,
And
Michael has always been talented.
I don't like John Villeneuve. I think he's a prick. But see how he hit Villeneuve in '97. I was like, I can't support this dude either.
Fine. But Lewis causes two reactions in me. I love that there's a black man at the top of the sport.
Mm-hmm.
I respect that,
Mm-hmm.
and he's also talented.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, his talent is not as good as Michael, and Senna, and all the rest of the guys. I don't even think he is as good
Bottas
as
is a little different.
Bottas.
Kev,
I,
he beat Bottas in his own car. How I mean, I
well,
don't
I
see that
don't
as a
think
fair. I don't see that as a fair
I
assessment.
I don't think he's as good as Bottas.
You
But
trolling at this
ulti-
point. You trolling at this point. But go ahead, Kev.
ultimately, but what I would love, and I've said this to you already,
Mhm.
I would like to see him move. Maybe not back to McLaren, but maybe someplace like Williams. And I think this whole lowering of the cap will give a team like Williams
A chance.
or Force Point India,
Yeah.
Racing Point India, sorry,
Hmm.
a opportunity.
Yeah.
I think that's what this is about now. You lower the cap, you put more money in the fuel, so you make the sport exciting again.
Hmm.
And if it was F1, I would just I know you can't,
Hmm.
but if I had the opportunity to do it, I would shuffle the drivers. I would shuffle
That
the
would not work in
drivers.
a European, not in a European sport. That would never work.
I
In
know,
America,
but
that could work, but in Europe, that mentality would never stand. That would never
nah,
work.
I wouldn't stand. People will riot. Businesses and money will pull out,
Yeah.
gone
Is it
instantly.
gonna play off for the Premier League title? That is the FA Cup for a reason.
It's true.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, ultimately, I think Ferrari needs to get behind lowering up the cap,
Hmm.
make the sport more fair.
Hmm.
Because teams that went into administration like Racing Point, I
Yeah.
mean, come on, we saw what happened to them,
Yeah.
and
You
you,
look at how look at Braun. Braun was the last innovative team we've had, and that was 2009.
mm,
And then after it was all big money teams. There was Red Bull, then in Mercedes dominance. I mean,
the newest team that coming through with money, even though they're still skeptical at points, is Haas. But
has fall off and has kind of way back. So I mean,
exactly.
it's like, but I think Formula One. We can get back to Ferrari right now, right?
Hmm.
Shout out to our boy Fatherpork. Do you think NASCAR will become an essential service? Fatherpork, Florida declared WWE an essential service, so yes. Uh, Back to you, Kev. I was saying, right? I think one of the worst moves that Formula ever did was these B6 turbo charge cards. These hybrid
Mm.
cars. The cost is so high, and we can get back to the Ferrari going to other other series in a minute. But the cost is so high that other manufacturers don't want to enter. Porsche
Yeah.
don't want to enter. None of the American teams don't want to enter. Haas uses a Ferrari engine. How can Haas, an American team, not use a Ford or Chevy engine? It can't
True.
happen.
Yeah.
Cosworth can't come back anymore. Jag can't enter. I mean, these engines are too expensive and too complicated. I always say, keep the V8. high variant cars and add the electric motor to get them better range. And look for newer fuels to make it more efficient. Or say this, if you want road relevance, this is what you do. Mercedes, you build a V8 turbocharged car, you put that in your Formula One car. Ferrari, you do the
Mhm.
V12 thing, you bring that. Honda, you do the V6 turbo, you bring that. Porsche, you do the flat six, you bring that. That is what's road
Renault.
relevant to you. Have the
Mhm.
say, hey, look, 1,000 horsepower is the cap. You can't go past 1,000 horsepower. I think it'd be more interesting as a sport because it will force innovation.
Yeah.
Because Mazda make rocket with a rotary engine now, been a championship. It will have innovation to it. When
Mhm.
it's like Mercedes is the best engine right now. You rock Mercedes and you win. So I mean, look at Renault. Renault is struggling with this in this era. An entire era, Renault has struggled.
I think what you said is right. I think, and that's the challenge.
Mm.
I get why they made the move
Me too, but I think it
because
was a
at that
bad move.
point
It was a bad
it's
move.
it's it's a bad move.
And not gonna
Um,
for the image of Formula One, that Renault V10 and V8 was the sound of Formula One.
mhm.
It's
Remember
gone now.
that?
It's gone.
Yeah,
And as a child,
yeah,
that's what attracted me to the sport. So
yeah.
I mean, I think it's something that has to be looked. I know some people said, "Move on, that's the past," blah blah blah, but it's missing. Even look at
What
look at
you
these turbocharged cars. They sounded amazing. You can hear the anti like hit the wastegate letting go and stuff. It's not there
mm,
anymore. They don't seem special anymore. I think it's something that has to be looked at. The audio and the visual impact has to be looked at, and also I think making it open will lower costs. But you were saying something, Kev.
I think what I get why F1 made that change
Mm-hmm.
is, in a time of climate change and environmental assurance,
Mm-hmm.
you need to be able to seem not to be against the environment. You need to be conscious, have that sort of sense of responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
But as you mentioned, and I think you hit the point on the head, you could bring back the V10, but you could really work on cutting those emissions.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is wrong with the sound, and nothing is wrong with the speed. It's the emissions that is the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And if you bring in a new fuel and if you really work towards them, you can have the sound of Formula One and the ability of Formula One that drew many before.
Mm-hmm.
I know, but yet still you could be clean.
Mm-hmm.
I know many people look at that Formula E
Mm-hmm.
as a thing, but it's missing something. You know what's missing? The sound.
Mm-hmm.
It's missing the sound of Formula One, and no, and it is not there.
Yeah.
If you look at Formula One, Formula Two, Formula Three, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and you take a look at it, you could have that climate responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
and you can move in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
But F1, as you said, needs to look to it because bring back the V10, bring
Mm-hmm.
back the V8, give it to other people. Who knows? We're not maybe able to get that done.
Man, Corona made great V8 engines, and they were very
Hmm.
successful. As soon as the V6 turbo era came in, they simply just couldn't compete. So
Exactly.
why
Because
not give if Mercedes is very good at the V6 hybrid era, you keep that Mercedes, but Renault could compete with something else. And
each team should have what they're good at.
yeah,
And if Red Bull, in exchange from Renault to Honda,
yeah,
feels as though Renault may be the best person to go back to,
mm,
I know Christian wouldn't be the biggest fan,
mm,
but he
yeah,
could go back and see what that's like. It will work for him maybe.
yeah. And plus, I think it was more open. A lot of the manufacturers could come in and build engines. Maybe Porsche could come in. Um, I mean, maybe the Volkswagen Group could say, "Hey, you have a choice of a Audi engine and a Porsche, or a Porsche and a
Exactly.
Lamborghini," and it'd be very effective for them to do it because it's too
Okay.
heavily based on their road engines. But I don't know. For looking beyond Formula One, I think it's necessary though. Because all of us see Ferrari go back to the top class of the WEC, the World Endurance Championship. Ferrari haven't
Hmm.
won Le Mans in a very long time. I would think the new hypercar regulations, which I think was the right move for Le Mans because the prototypes got so expensive to build and the relaxing of the engines and stuff. I think Ferrari could be very competitive there again.
I see that.
Yeah.
Um,
And I also have the branding because I think a lot of people associate Ferrari with Formula One. But let's say Ferrari's not doing good at Formula One, but they could turn and go and win Le Mans. That to me, winning
Mm-hmm.
Le Mans is almost as big as winning the Formula One World Championship to me.
True.
So I think that could help to propel the brand into new heights.
I think though I've never watched it, I know Le Mans has that
It
ability where it brings in the biggest names like
yeah,
Ford.
yeah,
And if you could say you take on Ford and you win against Ford, you got it. You know, Audi's there for sure,
yeah,
and they take it on.
yeah,
And it is well, you don't have the biggest names
yeah.
in
But
Formula One. You have more or less the biggest names in Le Mans,
yeah, but Lamar
and
prices,
that's
Lamar had to switch because Lamar, a lot of teams dropped out. Porsche dropped out, Audi dropped out. It just basically Toyota now. So they had to change it. No, we can't have this.
yeah.
So the hypercar regulations, they look pretty good. A lot of teams are looking to come back, which I think is the best thing for Le Mans. And I hope Formula One can move in a step of where it's not as much politics because these engines are being kept because Mercedes and Honda and Ferrari said we spent millions and millions of dollars on these engines.
Hmm.
So you to see it, hey, we changing format again. Porsche come and build an engine for half or a tenth of the cost. They don't want that. So it's something that I would like to see uh, looked at in the future.
Yeah, they
Uh,
definitely have to pay some attention to that.
yeah, I mean, Ferrari also. I think they're also in world in not in world endurance, but they also compete a lot of GT3 races, and they do pretty okay to me. But I like to see a bigger presence for them.
Hmm.
So it's something that I think they could broaden the wings a bit. Any other series you think you'd like to see Ferrari tackle? Maybe I think IndyCar also has the engine limit again, but it's, I think a more varied engine as well. I think it's a V6 turbo, but it's a lot less laps in that aspect. Do you think Ferrari should look to go out to IndyCar as well, or any other Formula Motorsport you'd like to see Ferrari take up?
I can't think of any more at this stage except for IndyCar. But I loved IndyCar at some point, but something about it is now missing, and I think it would
Yeah,
be too easy for Ferrari.
yeah.
Something is missing there.
Hmm.
IndyCar is not what it is. I don't know what is limiting it, but something about the way the cars are done, the way they sound.
I think they're hideous now. I think they look awful now.
Yeah, and I just can't bring myself to even watch IndyCar now.
To me, IndyCar
It's
is like a joke series right now. It's like the fall from grace of a series is it's something that I think me and you could discuss at another time.
hmm
Maybe when another time in Newsweek is like light, but the fall of IndyCar to me is an amazing one. So it's kind of
yeah.
sad as well. Very sad. All right, Mr. Ted. Before you go, we have a question from our boy Fatherpork. Thank you for the question, sir. He asks, controversial. Would pornography be considered an essential service? Uh, for me, no. The hub is free and it has a lot of videos on the hub. I don't think they need to add any more right now.
I can answer that from two perspectives. You know, sometimes you need that socialization, you need that little companionship, and you know, sometimes human beings are, you know, we're social creatures. So
Mm-hmm.
I think, you know, being that guy, and hopefully my prime minister doesn't hear me. Um, I would like to say it could be considered an essential service, but realistically speaking, it can't be.
Yeah.
I think you too many asymptomatic people around, and you don't even know if the workers themselves may be
Exactly.
having it.
I
So
mean to do a blues, you gotta be under you gotta be under the woman. So I mean, I think you can do it with the mask on and be very appealing to the audience. So
exactly. So
yeah,
I it's going to be a challenge, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I don't suspect it will be considered such for a long time, even though the WWE has been considered such in Florida.
why that's something that I clearly cannot understand. But money.
Money speaks. I remember who is the secretary of the Small Business Association for in the Trump administration.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so we know how that plays out. We
He
know
just
how that
responded that it's
plays
a
out.
very lucrative business, sir. Sir, we are not denying that, sir. But in this present time, I don't think it's necessary, sir.
If it's relating economy, I'm just the economist, so probably see it your way.
One thing, sir. Before you go, I'll let you finish up. Do you think that's an industry that barbers can look to get into?
I had this question up the last week from somebody else. Um, I think I think that's something we should have to discuss at another time.
Mm-hmm.
But keeping it brief,
Mm-hmm.
I think ultimately is something that it should be kept with objectives eyes open. I don't see a problem with it, even if you want to control it.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you legalize it a bit,
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be a situation where you even see a fall off. So you have to look at that possibility as well. So do you want to keep an informal economy or business
Mm-hmm.
and see what happens, or do you want to legislate it, make it an actual thing, put policies and rules in place, and then possibly see a fall off happen?
And before we
But
go, Mr. Fatherpork, again, as Connie said, the government tried to convert into a state-owned entity. Sir, that's a very reckless statement. And on that note, I think it's time you call it a night. Thank you, Mr. Kev, for coming on.
no
Unfortunately,
problem.
our host wasn't here, but I think we had an amazing show. We would like to have you back again. I mean, we had three guests on, and all three very amazing guests. We gotta do a smash up panel one of these days. But thank you for having me on, sir.
Yeah, that's no problem, man. Anytime.
Anytime. And guys, join us back here next week for another great and entertaining episode of the Anything Goes podcast. And I might have a surprise for you next week. I might. I might. Stay tuned, guys. Have a good night. Peace.